Good morning. This is Barbara Guglielmo from WellSky. Today we are going to be reviewing the OCDD waiver workflow. So in front of you, you have your manual, and we are going to be starting on page 17. We are going to start with a direct service provider creating an incident record. So as you can see, I am logged in, and let me just introduce you to the layout in SIMS. So you will see your first and last name up in the header, and your default role in the top right-hand corner. In the middle of the page, you have a quick search and an advanced search, which we will review at a later time. And right here in the center of the page are the chapters within SIMS. So for the direct service provider worker, they have access to My Work, the Providers chapter, the Incidents chapter, and the Reports chapter. Every time you log into SIMS, the My Work dashboard will display. But to create an incident record, you are going to navigate to the Providers chapter. If you work for one provider, that provider record will immediately display as just demonstrated. To add an incident record, you will click on the File menu and select Add Incidents. The Incident Details page will display, and this page is broken out into two sections. You see the Event Information section, which captures dates around the incident, as well as the location, who's reporting the incident, and a description of the incident. And then in the second section, the Decision section, we are capturing the disposition, the support coordination agency assigned to this incident, and the status of the incident record itself. We're going to complete this page, and it is recommended that you start from the top to the bottom. Wherever you see a red asterisk, that field is required. If you do not complete that information, you will not be able to save and navigate away from this page. So we're going to enter the report method, and then drop down to the incident occurred date. For any date fields, you have a date ellipsis. So if you click on that, the calendar displays, which helps you define the date of the incident. Next, we are going to enter the incident occurred time. Incident discovered date. Where the incident took place. For the description of incident, that you are given a text box. So you will be entering your notes here. The remaining fields are read-only, so at this point, you'll scroll back up to the top and select Save Incident from the File menu. Saving the incident record will trigger a workflow wizard that will help you to complete the incident record. You will first click on Search for Participant. And the participant details page will display. To add a participant to the record, you will select Search for Person from the Tools menu. And this allows you to do a people search against the database. You have the ability to use this search text box or the filter. Using this top search box, for example, if I was to type in Smith and hit this search button, it would look for Smith in all fields, last name, first name, street address, so forth. If I want to be more specific, I can use this filter queue here to enable any of these fields. You will make a selection, click on the green plus sign, and enter the participant's last name. To add additional filters to your queue, you would just, again, make a selection, click on the green plus sign. You do have the ability to set your Boolean feature, so it does default to equal to, but you can change it, enter the value. Once your filter is set, you will click on the search button. And the results of your search will display in this list view grid. This time we will select the individual from the list view grid, and a dialog box will appear asking what you would like to do next. The default is to override the participant data, and all that is doing is taking the information of this individual and populating it into a participant details page that was previously displayed. That is the recommended selection, so you will click OK. It brings you back to the participant details page, and you can see it populates that individual's information. What I will point out is after you save and navigate from this page, other information such as race, marital status, living arrangements, if that is part of their people record, that will then carry over. So at this time, you will then select Save Involved Person from the File menu. And as you can see, that first tickler has been crossed out because you've completed that task. We are now going to click on the second tickler, Identify the Participant. And the Critical Incident Report form will display on the screen. For this particular task, what's being asked of you is to identify the participant associated with this incident. And so all you have to do is click on this drop-down arrow and make a selection. And then select Save Documentation from the File menu. The second tickler has been crossed out. We are now going to click on the third and last tickler, which is to complete the critical incident report. To do that, you will click on the report in this list view grid. As you can see, by identifying the participant on the previous tickler, it brings over that individual service type and then displays additional questions that need to be completed for the critical incident report. So at this time, you would complete the necessary information. In the second section, you are identifying the incident categories. You can check all that apply. For some of these incident categories, if you make a selection, an additional question will display asking you to identify the type of that particular incident category. A multi-select field will display, and the way this field works is that you will make your selection in the left-hand side box, and you can pick more than one by holding the Control key and then clicking on the arrow facing the right, and it will bring over the values. If you've made a mistake, you can reset it by clicking on the double arrows facing the left and then making the correct selection. Under the additional event information section, you are providing information on who may have been notified. And then you're also providing dates and times. And lastly, there is an additional contact section where you can provide that individual's information. Phone number fields already have the area code parentheses and the hyphen, so you don't have to enter those, just the numeric digits. Identify the relationship to the participant. If there is an additional contact, you can check this box, and fields will display for that second contact. Once you've completed this form, you'll scroll back up to the top, and you will change your status from pending to complete. And then you will select Save and Close Documentation from the File menu. You can see the third tickler has been crossed off your list. So at this time, you're going to select Close Documentation from the File menu. And then you want to close the Workflow Wizard window, so you'll select Close Workflow Wizard from the File menu. And that will return you to the Incident Details page. Next step is to click on the Documentation subpage. Select Add Documentation from the File menu. And where it says Please Select Type, you are going to select the LDH OCDD Critical Incident Review Checklist. Here you are going to again select the participant associated with the incident. And as the direct service provider, you will be completing this top section here. This document remains in a pending status, so as the worker, you can return to this form and complete it at a later time. It is also a shared document, as you can see, with the support coordinator and the LGE. So this document needs to stay in a pending status so it can be edited by other workers. Once completed, you will select Save and Close Documentation from the File menu. You will return to the Incident Details page by clicking on the Incident subpage. And then you will select Save and Close Incident from the File menu. After an incident record is created by a direct service provider, there is another workflow wizard that does fire. And under My Work, the direct service provider worker will see under the My Incidents Ticklers pane, ticklers. You want to click on that, which will then display all remaining ticklers for that worker that needs to be completed. And one of those is entering follow-up notes. The direct service provider has to enter follow-up notes within 3 business days. To enter those notes, you would just click on the tickler in the list view grid. And the note details page will display. Under note type, the worker will select follow-up DSP. That selection will display additional fields under the note text box that need to be completed. So the worker can enter their notes here. And for any of these fields, you just would make a selection by clicking within the checkbox and providing a date. You also have the ability to add an attachment. So if you scroll down to the attachment section and click on Add Attachment, a new window will display, allowing you to browse your computer for that file. Once you've found that file, you would select Upload. And then that file would display under this document section. Once this note has been completed, you will change the status from draft to complete. If you need to return back to this note to make additional edits, I recommend just setting it to pending. That allows you to make edits. Once you mark it complete, it will render the note read-only. Scroll back up to the top and select Save Note from the File menu. It will ask you if you'd like to enter another note. If you say OK, another note details page will display. If you do not want to add one, you'll select Cancel. The Note Details page will close. It'll bring you back to the Workflow Wizard window. You can see the tickler has been crossed out. We will now select Close Workflow Wizard from the File menu. And you can see that tickler no longer displays in your list view grid. And then we'll close this window by selecting Close My Incident Ticklers from the File menu. And that will bring you back to My Work. This time I'm going to log out and log back in as the Support Coordinator Supervisor. The Support Coordinator Supervisor will be checking into SIMS throughout the day, looking for newly reported incidents as well as active incidents. The Support Coordinator Supervisor will be monitoring those incident records within the Incidents chapter. So at this time, we will click on the Incidents chapter. So in the advanced search for the Support Coordinator Supervisor, it has been configured so that it's looking for incident records whose status is equal to pending. It's also looking for the support coordinator and the support coordinator assignment. So at this time, we're going to X out of the support coordinator filter to look for the newly created incidents. And for the support coordinator agency assignment, we're going to click on the ellipsis. A worker dialog box is going to pop up, and where it says search text, you're going to enter assignment. That worker is going to display in the list view grid. You're going to select that worker. It's going to populate in that text box, and you are going to click search. This is going to display all incidents that have been assigned to this support coordination agency. The list view displaying on your screen is showing all incidents tied to this support coordination agency. You can also reset the display by clicking on any of these field headers in this blue row. So it's just an ascending or descending order. But what I'm looking for is the latest incident record that has been created. So I'm going to click on Incident ID. I'm going to open that record by hovering my mouse within that row and clicking on it. And it is going to display the incident details page of that incident record. There are two ways to review the record. You can navigate to the different subpages. And if we do that, starting with the participant subpage, it's going to bring you to a list or summary page. to look at that particular record, again, you're going to hover your mouse within that list view grid to open that record. And it's going to bring you to the participant details page. Click on the documentation subpage. Supervisor can review the forms listed here. And then clicking on the notes subpage. Are there any notes? So then, going back to the incident subpage, you can also run a report that will consolidate the information from the different subpages by clicking on Critical Incident Report. The report window will display. Provide information on the incident ID, the incident categories, the participant and their demographic information, the SC agency and the DSP provider working on this incident. Oops, sorry. Event information. There is an extension granted that will also display in this report output, and case notes will display at the bottom of the report. You do have a header here that allows you to save the report, as well as print the report or convert it to a PDF. To close out of this report window, you will click on the X up in the Internet Explorer tab, and that will bring you back to the incident details page. This time you'll scroll down to the decision section where you will make the assignment to the support coordinator. To do that, you'll click on the ellipsis associated to the support coordinator field. Again, a worker search dialog box will display. You will type in the last name of the worker and click on search. And then you will make the selection from the list view grid. You can see that now the worker's name displays in the support coordinator field. The last thing that needs to be done is changing the disposition from pending to OCDD SC assigned. And then selecting Save and Close Incident from the File menu. I'm going to log out and sign back in